It's good to finally see you. It's good to finally see you. We have been seeing you in our hearts and seeing you in our minds. Our souls have already connected before this moment, but again, it is good to finally see you. Welcome to Fearless Dialogues.
Yeah, but
Are you ready for change?
that was weak, Tavares. That was weak.
I know. That was like the first greeting in the morning at that 8 o'clock service at church, and you have to say it again a second time. Welcome to Fearless Dialogues. Are you ready for change? All right. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on. Give these wonderful students a round of applause. Give SRI a round of applause because we all are ready for change.
Good morning. We say it's good to finally see you for two reasons. First of all, Tavares has said that, we've been thinking about you. We received this invitation from Carrie quite a few months ago, so it's good to finally see your face. But the other reason why we say it's good to finally see you is because we know the heartache, the pain, the trauma of not being seen, of being invisible. I went to a school that's about 7 or 8 miles from here. I went to Frederick Douglass High School, and I recall this young man in my school that slept through class every day. Because the teachers knew if he slept through class, it would be easier than if he were awake. And I didn't have the language to articulate it in 10th grade, but something in me said this young brother was made invisible in our school. Here at SRI, you all are doing the hard work of seeing those who are hidden in plain view, those who are screaming from the shadows. So today we're just going to prime the pump for your conversation. We're grateful that we have been invited to be with you for the next 2.5 days. We'll do another closeout session. So today we're just going to give you an appetizer, maybe just something to titillate your taste buds. All right. So Tavares and I are animators at Fearless Dialogues, and unlike facilitators who say, okay, it's your turn to talk, Kristen. No, it's your turn to talk, Natalie. We don't do that. We are animators. We bring conversations to life. And in order to do so, we challenge you to fear less. To fear less. So Fearless Dialogues is a grassroots organization that me and a few friends, we created about 4 years ago. And what we seek to do is to create unique spaces for unlikely partners, folks who don't normally sit at the table together. We create these unique spaces for unlikely partners to engage in hard, heartfelt conversations. To engage in hard, heartfelt conversations about taboo subjects. And over the past 4 years, we have been really fortunate to work with about 20,000 people around the globe. Now, these people are very, very different people. Some of them are teachers and students like yourselves. But we've also been fortunate to work with community leaders and gang leaders in places like New Orleans. But we've also been fortunate to work with corporate gangsters. So I mean, we've had an opportunity to engage in some hard, heartfelt conversations about things like our sister talked about, and ask some really hard questions. And so we base our work on 3 pillars: see, hear, and change. And our philosophy is, if you cannot see the person that is before you as a human being worthy of your respect and care, it is impossible to hear value in their story. And if you cannot see the person nor hear their story as valuable, it is not going to happen that you can work collectively towards change. And so what we seek to do is to heighten your senses such that you might see more clearly, hear more attentively, and then begin the work towards change. So before you on your tables, right, we got to do it, Tavares, because, you know,
right there.
if we talk the whole time, it's a fearless monologue. So we want you to take 90 seconds. There are pictures on your table, right? Everybody, if you could share a picture with the person next to you, right? And we want you to look at these pictures very closely, and we want to ask this question, not like you're in a high museum or a fine art museum. We want you to look at the image and first ask yourself, who do you see? Who does this picture remind you of? Does it conjure an image of a student? Come on, can y'all share with our students over here? Does it conjure an image of a family member? And then secondly, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, who's not being heard in this image? What are the stories that are screaming from the shadows? And finally, even if the picture may look despairing, where is hope? Okay, let's take 90 seconds. Who do you see? Who don't you hear? Where's hope? Let's talk. Who do you see? Who don't you hear? Where's hope? Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Who do you see? Who don't you hear? Where is hope? Who do you see? Who don't you hear? Where is hope? We can start at 9.
Right, so we finish at 9. Let's set it here.
30 seconds, everybody. So we started at 9.
Yeah.
Do we need to finish at 9:20 or can we go to 9:30?
Can you go to 9:25? Can we compromise?
Yeah.
But if you need the whole 30, take it.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see how we're going.
Because if we run a few minutes late, I'm fine.
Okay. Okay, everybody. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, time, everybody. Time. Oh, we got a talkative group. Everybody, let's clap. Okay. So who did you hear? Who did you see? Let's just call them out. A little boy? Your mom. Oh, who said that? Stand up. Okay. Can you show us your picture? Oh, man. Mama is in the room. Okay. Who else did you see? Brothers? Military? Others? Men? Who else? A young woman. An artist. Okay. Others? Privilege? Yes, sir. Musician. What's your name, my brother? Robert. Thank you, Robert. Back here. Others? Kaepernick. Who's taking a knee? Because it's not a picture of Kaepernick. Oh, man. Look at this. It's a football player saying a prayer before the game. And you saw Kaepernick. Okay? Others. Couple more. A police officer. So who didn't you hear? Who are the voices that are muted? Those that are screaming from the shadows. Who didn't you hear in these images? Parents. Grandma. Families. Children. Teachers. Females. The dead. Yeah, who else?
Black people.
Black folks. Yes, ma'am. She was just pointing at you. Who didn't you hear? The less privileged. Okay? And finally, some of these are very, yes ma'am. Special needs students. Your name? Wilda. Thank you. Finally, my mom was a special education teacher for 33 years. Special kind of person. And so finally, where's hope? Where's hope? Say it again. In togetherness. Faith. Connection. Joy.
Just ahead.
It's just ahead of us. Youth. A sense of wonder. Play. Music. Okay. And seeing each other. Now, let's just put a pin in that. Now, the reason why we have done this is because most of these images, when you walked in, they just sat on the table. How many of you paid attention to the images when you saw, oh, well, this is SRI.
Right.
And for many people, they just casually and senselessly pass the sensory items that enter into our consciousness without taking time to fully see who might this person be? How might this person have some connection with me? Without taking time to hear that this person might actually have a story that can teach me something that will be wisdom for my journey. Without thinking that, maybe if we took just a few moments, something in us might change. So the work that we do is called Fearless Dialogue. You want to talk about that really quick, Tavar?
And so when we talk about fearing less, it's not the idea that you're not going to be afraid. I mean, that's not what we're pushing. You'll notice tomorrow when those who are in workshops with us, you'll see it says fear plus less, or there it is on the screen, fear plus less. So not this idea that we're going to be unafraid, not this idea that there won't be things that come up that we are tentative to talk about, not that we won't walk into rooms and there is that, what they say, that 900-pound elephant sitting in the room and somebody wants to say something but is not bold enough to say anything, but this idea of fearing just a little bit less to engage in the conversation authentically about who we don't hear, about who we don't see, and about those things that we know could make a difference if someone with that right mix of boldness and humility will simply say there is another story that needs to be heard. There's a voice being left out. Just fear that just a little less and allow the seeker of truth in you to speak so that others can finally be seen.
And so what we're going to ask that you do now is that, you may have a laptop in your lap, or you may have a pen or a pencil right now. We don't need you to take notes. We want you to feel this. So just put everything down for a minute. And I want you all to just close your eyes and imagine that we are no longer in a conference room at a large hotel in the city of Atlanta. I want you to imagine that this is a laboratory, right? And like any good laboratory, there are things bubbling up. There are things being combined. There are elements that may intrigue your senses. You may smell something differently. And we would like to think of this room and our time together for the next couple days as a laboratory of discovery. And like any good laboratory, sometimes some things have to blow up or break down in order to get to a breakthrough. And so I want you to be very attentive to what's happening on the inside of you. Now, I got a D- in chemistry. And, when I was in undergrad, that was a very good indicator that I needed to change my major. But the thing that really kind of stoked my interest was the colors and the smells and the textures of a laboratory. And even though I didn't do so well in chemistry, I even called my classrooms today a laboratory of discovery, because I believe that the primary role of a caregiver, of an activist, of an educator is to see that which others overlook and to hear that which most people ignore. So as we prime our minds for discovery, on this morning we're going to ask that you enliven your senses. So I'm going to ask my brother if he could turn off the lights. And I want you to follow us on a journey. Now, I want you to think about, what is it that you're feeling? What is it that you're seeing? What is it that you're hearing? What is it that you're smelling? This is a piece from my book. And we call it a conversation with Country Dark. I don't know if y'all know about Country Dark. But my citified eyes were unprepared for Country Dark. Now, under the expanse of an unlit sky, my 6-year-old hand was undetectable, just inches from my face. And disembodied in the darkness, a shrieking chill shivered across my skin.
Feel like I'd never felt before.
For the first 2 evenings, the unknown fear pulsed through my veins and stole my shut-eye. Can you see it? So as the sun lay down on day 3, she welcomed me to a most unlikely classroom. And she altered my vision for life.
Forever.
3 days before my late night lesson, Grandma and I boarded a bus in Kansas City, and we had 2 bags of clothes, a box of chicken, and a tin of oatmeal cookies. We were en route to her hometown in Arkansas, and as the bus rolled into town, I immediately noticed that there were no street lights to illumine the gravel paths in Grandma's old stomping ground. Now I need you to close your eyes, because I want you to go on this journey with us. So I step off of the bus and I unsuccessfully seek to find my 6-year-old hand. It's dark. It's blacker than 100 midnights down in a cypress swamp. And after 2 eves of night terrors, Grandma took me out on the porch. It was the porch of her sister's old shotgun house, and she opened her lecture with me with these timeless words. Baby, Country Dark is God's gift to your senses. So when the sun nestled down for an evening rest, she pulled out an old ice cream maker. I don't know if y'all know about ice cream makers. she pulled out an old ice cream maker, and she told me to turn the crank. The ice crunched, the rock sock crackled, and the dairy tin spun round and round, and I focused on the spinning tin. Hypnotically, I entered into a time machine of sorts. The hour hand froze. The second hand slowed. And the ominous night became luminous. Then her lecture unfolded something like this. There are some things you can only experience in the denseness of the dark. Greg, what do you feel? And a flutter of lightning bugs' wings suddenly fanned my face as they twinkled and twirled before me. That's God bringing the stars of the heaven down to earth. Now listen closely, baby. What do you hear? It was an outdoor symphony, like frictionless wings, like frictionless bows gliding over 4-string violins, a chorus of cricket legs scratched out a most natural tune. Stick out your tongue. Your taste buds can see too. That night she taught me how to taste the sweet kiss of coming rain. Time unfroze. And what seemed to be milliseconds were actually hours. And on that porch, my unknown fears melted away, and I slept like a newborn. 3 decades later. 3 decades later. A pitch black night
Still smells
like
homespun
ice
ice
cream.
cream.
Open your eyes. In groups of 3, what did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? Let's talk. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? What did you see? Hey, you are amazing. You are amazing. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? We only got 5 minutes.
Thirty seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. See, hear, feel. 30 seconds. Hold that together. Hold it together. Hold it together. All right. Let's hear. Let's hear. Let's get responses.
Okay, everybody, we only got a couple more minutes. We only got a couple minutes. What did you see? What did you see? Quickly, quickly, quickly. Okay, beauty. Others. What did you see? What did you see? Dark. Yeah, it's dark. Okay, others. Lightning bugs. Stars. Ice cream maker. Grandma. Porch. Bus. Gravel path. Okay, what did you hear? Silence. Say it again. Peepers. Okay, my voice. Okay, what else did you hear? Crickets. Grandma. Others. The wooden boards. Okay, how did it make you feel? Calm, safe, familiar, known, loved, fearless,
Right.
quiet. Now, everybody, our time is almost up for now. We'll be back on Saturday. Now, what we want to do is to create art based on the words that have been spoken into this room. What we have felt, what we have seen, what we have heard. Right? And so we want to offer this to you as a gift to mobilize you for the coming days, the coming hours, the coming conversations, such that you might open your minds and your hearts to sensing, to seeing, to hearing, so that we might work collectively towards change. Now, we are in the company of a genius. We call Tavares one of the super friends. And what Tavares is about to do is he is about to create a poem based on the words that have been spoken into this room right now. So if you got a smartphone, you might want to record it, because you will never hear this poem again. And so what I'm going to ask our friends up here to do is these pink words were notes that I took from the students' presentation. The green words are notes taken from Carrie's presentation. The brown words are spoken from, what's your name? Tyro's lecture this morning, right? And then these are your words. What did you see? What didn't you hear? Where was hope when we started our conversation? And this is what you sensed, right? We're getting you into your bodies so that you can be fully present in the conversations that are here. So these are your words. So we need one more person. One of the students. All right, come on, sister. Thank you. All right. So what I'm going to ask that you all do is, you can give them the instruction, Tavares. I'm sorry.
All right. So what's going to happen is, in just a moment, a poem and Althea has given us the title. It's entitled Empower. Now, this is a purely organic moment. We have no idea what's going to be said, except we know it's going to empower, because that's what Althea has spoken into existence. So I'll start the poem in just a second, and about every 20 seconds, Greg is going to circle a word, call the word out, speak it into existence, and then it will be incorporated into the poem. And that's how this creative process works. So are we ready? Are we ready for change still? Are we still ready for change? All right, let's talk about how we empower for change. As I hit the 7585 connector, I wondered what it would be like when I stepped into the room in that hour, as I stepped into a room in the midst of an hour where many minds would be focused on change and who we all could become. I'm thinking about how we and our children are one. We are one light. We are one focus. We are one's focus on being brighter than the light of a billion stars. We're talking about not wishing upon the star and wishing we could be there, but understanding that the star is where we are right now, hearing this sacred sound. And as we hear that sacred sound, we begin to understand that this place where we sit, it's like holy ground. And I'm beginning to hear reflections of angels coming all around, except they are not in this ephemeral form, but they are in the physical form of the children who are recalibrating norms. And we become brothers and sisters who understand that together we can weather storms, because as each one teaches one and reaches one, we become one. We become lighter, we become brighter again than the light of the sun. But see, its rays don't consume us in a fiery ball of light, because we are safe. We are safe because we have each other in one another's sight. And see, if we can simply look into each other's eyes and exchange a long loving look, we'll begin to understand that it only took a second to express radical hospitality. See, that is why we took the moment to say it is finally good to see you. As we see you, we're feeling a little clumsy this morning, because sometimes it's like the vibrations get a little bit off kilter. But I'm thinking about what happens when we begin to understand what will happen if we'll just simply filter out the noise.
Little boys and little girls.
See, it's amazing, because the next line that was coming through my mind was little boys and little girls who can change this world. I'm even looking at them, and I'm thinking about my own little boy, my own little girl, and I'm thinking about how they were put here to add meaning and purpose to this world. And if we could simply add meaning and purpose to our dreaming, we will see that we were put here for a reason. And the beauty of this season comes when we begin to understand that the most important moment is now.
Racial equity work.
Can you hear the breathing, the sound of your heart saying that racial equity work starts when I begin to be the one who is the difference, when I begin to be the one who makes a clearance, when I begin the one who charts a path, when I begin to be the one whose soul laughs in the face of adversity as activists, artists, adversities, and thinkers begin to tinker with this reality that we called our world. Do you understand that there's human potential in every one of these boys and girls? Do we understand that we must give them the truth to understand that they have been empowered to unfurl and speak with a voice that says hope is not simply intangible, but it's the tangible movement of my hands, my eyes, and my feet. It is the tangible expression of divine love that I pour out with every person that I meet. It is the tangible expression of dreams that begin to
a proud family
take the form of hands and feet. And we become that proud family. That proud family, that proud community, that community who understands that in the midst of our minds, in the midst of our circumstances, we can come together in unity.
Privilege.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to use our unity to walk in the privilege of being alive? Have you ever wondered what it means to be one who comes through the fire and you begin to understand that you were meant to do more than survive, but you were meant to thrive? And what would happen if all of us use our privilege to make the difference that we can make when we become music to our own ears?
Yeah.
You see, the message is speaking to us loud and clear.
Fearless.
If we want to cause this world to change, let's fearlessly embrace the power that is already right here. God bless you. Be changed. Be changed. Be changed. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, and let's have another great round of applause. We thank you, the students of the Atlantic Public Schools, Taiwo, Demola, Tavares, and Greg, for your inspiration and for your fearlessness. And welcome to Atlanta. My name is Beth Graham, and it is my pleasure to serve you and the organization as your professional development specialist. You know, it was only this past January that many of us gathered for SRI's winter meeting in Denver. I left there full of optimism and fueled by the commitments I had made. Like many of us, I've spent the last 9 months not making a baby, but learning a lot. Listening, reading, protesting even, and working with great intention to fully integrate SRI's bold mission, our fierce commitment to equity, into my professional practice and my personal life. But there have been times since January that have tried my resolve, and yours too, I'll bet. Moments of despair and hopelessness as I watched what little progress had been made erased with the stroke of a pen, the pull of a trigger, the flame on a torch. So I come to fall meeting this year to renew my commitments. And already I can feel the buzz in this room. I see the light dancing in children's eyes. I hear the voice of a brilliant young woman imploring us to learn more, to take the first or the next best step, to be brave. And I see you. I feel our power, and I know that together and as individuals, we can and we must make a difference for every student, not just some students, not just more students, but for every student to realize their dreams. So we'll be transitioning to collaborative learning groups in just a few minutes, and in these small groups, we'll be using SRI tools and resources to support collaboration and discourse around race, class, and culture in our schools and in our practice. We greatly appreciate the facilitators of these small groups who have been working together since March in order to develop experiences that will support us to surface issues of inequity, to examine our assumptions and beliefs, to create brave and safe spaces where conversation can result in action, and to sustain commitments that will lead to real change. You'll find the room location of your collaborative learning group on the back of your name tag. Please don't be surprised if you and your friends have been assigned to different rooms. We actually want you to leave Atlanta with multiple and diverse perspectives on issues. Experiences will vary from group to group, and your experience will likely be different from another's. Finally, at times you might even feel a little uncomfortable here. So good for you. That's good learning, and we hope that you'll acknowledge it and embrace it. So as we transition now, we urge you to summon all of your collective courage, intellect, guile, and determination to understand our mission of equity and to resist oppression in all its forms in order to make schools better places for every student. As Alice Walker reminds us, resistance is the secret of joy. Welcome to Fall Meeting in Atlanta, joyous people.